Today, I'm going to talk to you about the importance of using AI responsibly and ethically in the workplace. In order to be able to use AI responsibly, we need to understand what's happening to the information we're putting in. Once you know what's happening to the information that's being put in, you can decide how you want to protect it. It will obviously be different depending on whether you're working for your own organization or whether you're working for somebody else's organization. If you're working for yourself, it's really up to you to decide what's most ethical and responsible for you, for your business. And if you're working for an organization, obviously you have to keep in mind confidentiality and how can you ensure that you're protecting their information when using ChatGPT or any other AI tools. If you're working for an organization, ask it if it has any AI rules in place. Ideally, if it does have some AI rules in place, you should already be informed of it. But if you haven't, maybe you're in a very big organization, reach out and ask, do you have any guidelines that I can follow to use AI? If they have guidelines, great, read them. Take the time to read them. If they don't have guidelines, pick guidelines. For example, if you're in the Middle East, you can use the Middle East PR Association guidelines, or Harvard has really good guidelines. Google has really good guidelines on the ethical use of AI. Just pick one organization that you trust and go through their AI ethics guidelines. I'm going to link some over here, but make sure you read through guidelines. All the guidelines are pretty much the same, just so that you stay responsible in your use for AI. If you're working for an organization, make sure you're not putting in any personal or sensitive information into the tools, because we truly don't know how they're being used just yet. So make sure that the information is not personal. So no financial information, no confidential information, no personal information of yourself or of any other employee that you might be working with. Any confidential records of your company, please make sure you don't put them into any AI tool. Also, if you want to put in some information that might be confidential, but you want to create something from it, de-identify it. So take out any information that's sensitive, take out any information that might be confidential, take out any information that can recognize that this information is related to your company. If you do this, the information that you put in will sound more generic and you can still get what you want, but you're also protecting your organization's information. Maintain transparency. Honestly, I feel like we're in the AI era and everyone's using AI, whether they're telling you or not. Research shows that over 70% of employees are using AI without telling their organization. There is no shame in using AI. Everyone's using it. So if you haven't had the conversation with your boss, your management yet, have a conversation with them and tell them you're using AI, tell them how you're using it, and tell them what its limitations are and what its benefits are. This is a really good conversation to have if you haven't had it already. Make sure that if you have any copyrighted information and you put it into ChatGPT or any other AI tool, the copyright is devoid, because it means that it's going into the public domain and that data can be used for training. So be very careful when you're putting any information into any AI tool that it's not got any copyright related to it. The best thing you can do in general is opt out of allowing the AI tool you're using to use any of your data for training. You can do this usually in the settings of the tool. They'll have data controls, privacy controls, so you can just switch them off. If you switch this off, this means that the information you put in there, whatever conversations you're having, are not being used to further train the tools. So if you're in any doubt, just go to settings or personalization or data controls and opt out from allowing this tool or whichever tool you're using to use your information for further training purposes. When you're using AI tools, keep in mind that they come with biases, because it's been pre-filled with a lot of information from the internet, and information on the internet has its own biases. So if you're using the general AI tools on the market, make sure that you keep in mind that there are biases in those tools. So if you're working, especially in diversity, equality, and inclusion, the DEI space, where you're working to create an inclusive work environment and you're using AI tools that maybe are not bespoke to your company, make sure that you keep in mind the information you're getting is biased. So when you are using it, to make sure you make it free of any bias so that you can maintain a diverse, inclusive, and equitable environment. And last but not the least, remember that AI is just a tool. It cannot replace your knowledge, your experience, your insight, and it certainly cannot take your job, because it cannot do what we can do. So don't fear it. Don't be afraid to talk about it. Use it to the best of your abilities, but also be responsible about how you use it and the information you're putting into it, especially if you're working in an organization.